So we're here with Adam from Vector3d, and he's got a pretty cool hot take on an old printer design, but also we have some heat set insert machines that run Klipper apparently. So Adam, what have you been working on?
Okay, so this old printer here is Sanjay's Huxley from 2010. It's the eMega Huxley. As you can see, it's getting a little bit old now, but it's still a wonderful piece of historic part of Rep 3D printing. So I took this design that inspired Sanjay and inspired me and kind of brought it over to 2024 for the auction. So this piece is what I've been designing over the last 3 months. And it's pretty much a Huxley in terms of what it looks like, but none of it is really original Huxley. So it's using a 120mm bed and all NEMA 14 motors with a bunch of stuff borrowed from Voron Design to make this new stylized sort of shiny black and gold brass version.
I was going to say, it has some V0 in there. There's some V0 parts.
Yeah, if you know what you're looking for, you'll find plenty of V0.
But now the question is, for this design, obviously it's based on the original Huxley. Did you take the original CAD and modify it, or you just basically took the design of the original and scratch built your own version?
So I had the CAD for the original, as much as there is. Like, it's not as detailed as you might expect from more modern things, but a lot of the frame and kind of structure, dimensions are all there. So I used that and kind of started tinkering with things that I might change, like which parts of the design do I think could be improved or think could look better, and kind of went from there. But overall, really none of it is actual original Huxley. Every single part has been changed completely from the ground up, pretty much for this whole new thing.
That's cool. And then this is just a filament spool holder, I'm assuming, Nick?
Yeah, this is just a spool holder. We can hold 2 spools. I mean, this was kind of an extra bit, and I just want to kind of theme it to match the printer, but overall there's nothing necessarily special about this at the moment.
And then moving down here, we have your VLMPs, which are heat set insert presses. We got 2 different versions here. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, so these 2, as you mentioned, you're probably going to be reasonably familiar with, hopefully. The one on the left, or your right, is VLMP2. This is our kind of more DIY friendly one, where you buy the hardware kit, or you can even self-source. You get STLs and stuff that you print all yourself. So self-assembly, self-print, very easy to do. And then here we have the VLMP Pro, which is more targeted at kind of batch production or small business use. So we use things like linear rails, customized metallic parts, just to make it a little bit more durable, a little bit more, I don't know, use and abuse sort of friendly, instead of easy replaceable parts. So when you get this, everything is included. The soldering iron, all the printed parts, all the weights, everything is just all in one box. No decisions, you just get it and you build it. Whereas VLMP2 gives you that kind of color customization, stylized options, if that's what you want to do.
And then we have this.
And then we have this thing, which is a little bit silly and a little bit of a passion project of mine. So this is a fully automatic VLMP Auto. The way it works is that it runs Klipper. So we use a Bigtree toolhead board and a Raspberry Pi to basically run a 3D printer that has 1 axis.
So how does the operation go here? Because obviously you're not needing to pull out your phone or use a screen for this. This is running standalone.
So this is running completely on its own. The one thing you do have to do, unfortunately, there is some manual labor. You have to put the heatset in yourself. Once it's placed, you press this little button on the top, as long as it's already hot. So we press the button and it starts to go down, and it kind of homes anywhere on the insert, doesn't really matter. Gives you a second to prepare, and then it goes down. It applies plenty of pressure, and then as the heat set insert heats up, it will start to go down into the printed part. And then eventually it will re-hit the end stop, and it should just pop up. And ta-da!
Here we go. So this, you're not really planning to offer this. This is just kind of like a little fun thing you made, right?
It might, but the chances is probably not. It was mostly a fun, silly thing to see if it's possible. And it's worked out reasonably well, better than expected. It feels less silly than I thought it was when I was designing it. But ultimately, it probably won't be a real product. It's probably disproportionately expensive to what it is useful, but it's still, I mean, it was a fun thing to build.
Awesome. And these, if you want to buy them, you can just pick them up on your store.
Yep.
And then you also have hedamames here.
Let me point 2 things, yeah. This thing and hedamame. So hedamame, if you're Canadian, you should probably know hedamame already. A brilliant supplier of headphone kits, where you 3D print all the parts yourself, but it comes with the things like the drivers, the cones, the headband, the cables, You just have to print it and build it. And the building is really easy. It's like 15, 20 screws. Amazing build video. Really easy to do. And they sound so good. I mean, I've been using these.
These are my daily drivers.
Yeah,
I have
I've
a
been
set
using
of these
for years.
Yep.
And I was like, more people need to be using these headphones because I've gone through so many different, from like, I don't know, any different headphone brand, AKG, for example.
And the best part is if you drop these and break them, you just print a new part.
You just make new parts. Like, that's such a good point of them. And they sound amazing. Like, you don't want to, sometimes when you think of 3D printed things, you think, well, it's 3D printed, but you've compromised on the sound. The quality might be compromised. These sound brilliant. So, like, I'm happy to recommend them to pretty much anyone. And we just kind of wanted to bring them into the UK because UK shipping and imports can be difficult to negotiate. So being in Canada, we're like, guys, we want your stuff here. Let me help you do that. So now they're available on the store.
And then you said the other thing here was the electric Pi?
This is the Electri-Pi. It's basically a 24 or 12 volt to 5 volt converter that sits on top of a Raspberry Pi. And it does that voltage conversion up to 5 amps at 24 or 5 volts. And includes things like fuse, has the safety power protection that you get on a Raspberry Pi, and it has a fan for cooling the Pi as well. So it just makes that kind of, you don't have to have a separate power supply. The wiring is really easy. It just sits on top. So it's just kind of a high power buck converter for a Raspberry Pi.
That's pretty cool. And this is also available on your store as well.
This is available now too.
Cool. So that's Adam from Vector3d. Cheers.
Great. Thank you very much.
So I want to give a huge shout out to HuForge along with LDO Motors for sponsoring this year's Sanjay Mortimer Rep Fest coverage. For printer parts, kits, accessories, and more, check out LDO Motors. And if you want to print some really cool 2.5D color prints, check out HuForge. Links in the video description. Cheers.
A little sticky, so you don't have to say until you do the first frame, okay? Okay, this is raw. There was this text like the metal one. Yeah. The rest is actually on this break up. I put that just recently added to now the full suits that have no break up.
That's not bad.
Yeah.